we catch the pawn. And Paul, I'll go over yours. So you said king a3 superior to king b3. Many lines I'm looking at which involves the knight wanting to go to b3, which is occupied by the king, and a3 accomplishes the same job as king b3. Interesting. So let's try king a3. That's very interesting. King e6. I won't try this line because right it accomplishes the same thing. Knight f8. Knight d7. h5. Knight c5. h4. Knight d3 does not work, right? Knight d3 does not work because of h3 king b4, h2. Yeah, that doesn't work. So let's play. Now I have knight. Okay, so I have knight b3. What do you play after knight b3? King. Knight b3, king f4. Knight d2 because we have two lines, right? Yeah. Sorry, I like your solution. Knight b3. h3. Knight d2. Right, and if he plays here, then we also play knight d2. h2, and we can play here. The fork is vital, right? So if he plays g1 equals queen, then the knight fork, and we win the queen. Oh, they win our knight, but hey, it's a draw. Very nice. Yeah, I wasn't looking that far ahead, and I just didn't see that b3. That was really, really deep analysis. So really good job to you, Paul. Why not try getting the king closer to d or e file to protect it? Yeah, no, that was really nice. Let's try one more way. So king a3. So he goes. Say pushes, and he pushes. Let's say he plays knight b3. And now we have knight g5, right? And with the same idea that we're going to dance around the pawn. Beautiful. All right, yeah, that was really nice and really good solution for me, Paul. Thank you for telling us that the king a3 solution, it does the same thing as king b3, but that our knight wants to go to. So that was really nice. Wow, that was nice. So our squares, we really have to choose our squares correctly in the end game. So very nice, very nice. All right, so we have one more example, and then one more exercise, and then we get into the next subsection. So let's put that on the board. So what have you guys been up to today? Today was I live in New York, so today was really nice. Although I was indoors mostly because I teach chess, so I was teaching for about 8 hours today. Really tiring. And then I come teach you guys for 2.5 hours, 3 hours. But how was your day today? Anything interesting happen in your part of the world or in your state, city, province? Let me know. I'm interested. Alright, this is correct. And it is white to move. So white to move, and I'm going to give you some of this. Just sleeping and doing tactics and endgame study. Oh man, that's the way to do it. If you want to become a chess master, chess grandmaster, that's what you got to do. Study and tactics. And you're here with us. So, Very nice. Thank you for being here. Alright, so let's look at this. So I'm gonna just mute my mic because I don't want to slip something like I've been doing. Alright, 30 more seconds. 30 more seconds. If you have any answers for the chat, please go ahead and put it in now. We will be starting in 10 seconds. mic was still muted. Wow. Luckily, I mean, nothing really. I think I said a lot, but it was all the same thing. We were just trying to get a draw. Your variation and my variation both draw. So sorry for the mic being muted, but your variation and my variation both drawed. The mic was still muted. I gotta get better. I think I did that like 2 streams ago, and the mic was muted for like 3 or 4 minutes. I was like, ah, what a bummer. I really gotta get better at that. So the knight defends the pawn. The best way for the knight to defend past pawn is from the rear. Here, the knight is immune from capture, since that would put the king outside the square of the passed pawn. So let's do that one. And thank you for telling me that my mic is muted, or that it was muted. Oh, that's funny. So I'm gonna read that one more time once I set up the position, so you can see what he's talking about. The best way for the knight to defend the passed pawn, so the knight defends the pawn, that's the subsection. The best way for the knight to defend the passed pawn is from the rear. Here, the knight is immune from capture, since that would put the king outside of the square of the passed pawn. So it is white to move here. White parries a threat of king b4 with knight c4. Right? Oops. Knight c4, and if king b4, then we play knight d2. Exclamation point. Because he cannot play here, because we're going to queen. Okay? So, let's go knight c4, king b4, knight d2, king c3, and then king g3. The knight can easily defend its pawn if both white and black pawns are on the same file, and the pawns blockade one another. So this is the next example. This is an example by yours truly, Mark Deveretsky, in the year 2000. I would have hated to play this guy in an Endgame. Alright, this is white to move. So, white can either play knight b5 or knight d5 here. Okay? And so let's go over the line of knight b5. Knight b5, king e4. King g2, king d3, attacking the pawn here. Knight d6. In either case, the knight can handle it without the king's assistance. Right, so we can always move the knight, because now he has to come back and waste 2 more moves. That means our king can go inside. We run away, and then we protect the pawn from another way. Very, very instructive. Well, maybe not here, but we can keep going back and forth between here and here. For example, let's say he plays here, we play here, here. Now we can just play back. He can't get here anymore, he can't get here anymore. So yeah, lost. So he's saying let's move the pawn to c3. White's task is now more complex. So let's go back. Let's see if he puts, okay, no. He doesn't give it in the next page. So White's task is now more complex. He only gets a draw out of king g2. He only gets a draw out of king g2. If he plays king g2 now, then king e4, king g3, knight d3, knight b5, king c4, knight b5, king c4. It's insane what kind of knowledge you need to compete with GMs. Yeah, I drew against a GM once, but that was in a simultaneous match. So it doesn't really count. And my position was better. my position was better. But just, they're human too, right? They just know, like in chess, there are kind of like shortcuts where you can remember something just like, hey, I know that there's a position sort of like this, so let me get there. So that's kind of how they relate, how they go into winning endgames or how they go into drawn endgames when they're losing, because they just know this stuff. Like if we never were exposed to this, we could figure it out, but that would waste a lot of time and it would be very taxing on our brain that we could use doing something else. I remember playing in tournaments and I would be exhausted, physically and mentally exhausted. Well, maybe not physically, but I mentally, I think being mentally exhausted is worse than being physically exhausted. I just can't keep going. I have to sleep. I get headaches. So like your brain's sore, I guess. So let's go back to the text. Let's go back here. Boom, boom. So he's saying that white would win, but there's a solution here. Wow, knight a8, and there's a very famous saying that to move the knight back is one of the hardest moves to find. Like moving a piece back, one of the hardest moves to find in chess. King d5. Knight b6, king c6, right? He cannot go here because the knight defends. Pawns defends this square. Right, okay, so king c6, knight c4. Very nice. And whichever way he steps, we create a barrier. So if he steps on to d5, we create the barrier on d2, and then, right, because we protect here and here, so he can't go, so he has to walk around, and that gives us time to move our king, and also push c3, protecting it the other way that we saw. So very nice. So let's just finish this. King d5, and now the simplest here. And now if he tries to play some silly stuff, and now he has to come all the way around, try to win this, but then we play here, and then we can get our king, right? So, oops, sorry. Let's go back. One move. Place here, 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 and here. So you can't go here. Defends knight here. Defends everything, right? And he has to go around, and eventually we come around and win the pawn. Oh, well, he can't even go there, so like here, we win the pawn. Okay, so yeah, he says that the after 92 was the barrier. He said, understandably, if we moved the starting position, so the starting position is this position, this is the starting position. If we moved it one file to the left, there would be no win. Right, okay, right, because the knight is not effective. If white must defend the knight with his king, then the win comes far less often. Sometimes we get a position of reciprocal as well. Alright, so let's set up a position. White's going this way, or easy. Sorry, black's going that way, white's going this way. Okay, great. And it is white to move. White to move, and I'm just going to read from the text. It's not an exercise. This is actually a game in the USSR Championship in 1937. by Ebralides and Bondrovetsky. That's a nice name, Bondrovetsky. Or Bondarovetsky. So he said that king e5 exclamation mark. Seizing the opposition is important when the black pawn is at h5. Consequently, it follows that with a pawn on h7, white needs the anti-opposition. In the actual game, white missed the win. He played king e6 instead. And he played king g5. And after king e5, h5, king e6, king g6. Wow. 93, king g5. And it's drawn because of king e5, then h4, g4, h3, and the knight has to defend it. And we're gonna take the piece. Wow. And look at this, like you can draw a piece down. Like, that's mind-boggling. You can draw a losing game. Like, you're losing here, right? He has an extra 3 points ahead of you. And you can draw if you know this stuff. That's beautiful. You know, you can keep trying tricks. So, if you don't know what anti-opposition is, then please go on to my YouTube, and I talk a lot about anti-opposition, and I will link you. Just give me a few seconds, and if you're already on YouTube, thank you so much for subscribing. If you haven't, please do so. If you like my content, it's free. If you have any questions, leave it in the comment section below. And I love you. Alright, I'm just gonna link the just gonna look here, just gonna link something. Here we go. Copy. Alright. Right? Like, it is like mind-blowing, like how cool this stuff is. It's like you're down a piece. You're effectively, like, you're down a piece, but you know the best defense. You know the tricks that you have to try. Like, it's just amazing. Alright, so let's go back. Sorry for the plug. Chris Brown, you just subscribed? Oh man, thank you. I love you. Chris Brown just subscribed. This kind of knowledge is what separates the good with the weaker players. Not even. This kind of knowledge separates the good players from the great players, right? Because weak players are never going to know this, right? They're always going to stay weak. They never want to learn information, or they never want to learn any knowledge. Whatever's good for them and works for them, they're going to keep playing. But for good players, that they're always searching for knowledge, if they don't have this kind of material, they can never become great players. And that's what I want everybody to have access to. Great material, great content. So thank you so much for subbing. I really appreciate it. Okay, so let's play king e5. King e5. And so this is the anti-opposition. Okay, and I'm just going to read again. Seizing the opposition is important when the black pawn's here. But right now, he still has a few moves. He has some tempo that he has to deal with, right? So we're taking the anti-opposition for now. When the pawn's on h5, then we know we have to take opposition. Fair? Fair enough. Okay, so king g5. He's saying that other moves don't matter or don't help so much because of h5. Then we have king f6 or king e4. Either one's fine. And if h6, one of the kings on e5, then we play king f6, king h5, knight captures h6, x clam, has to capture, and then hello, we're making a girl. Right? And remember, golden position, very nice, very easy. Let's go back. There's a pawn here, right here, king's on e5, and king f3 fails to king e6, king g4, king f6, and saying, hey, it's your move, we just triangulated. King h5, and then knight e3, saying, hey, we're gonna block you. And then we can just push the pawn and stuff like that. And then the king can come and help, right? So here, here, and hello. We just, where the king now defends, and now we can come collect the pawn and queen. Okay, let me take all those arrows off. Okay, so let's go back to the things. So Chris Brown said, "Do you stream often? I prefer educational materials rather than watch someone beat up 1,200 players for hours. And I still don't get what triangulate means. I keep hearing it over and over and over. This is the kind of okay. So I do stream often. I try to stream as often as possible. I teach chess 8 hours a day, and sometimes I'm up researching lessons. Like I'm planning my lesson plans, and I spend maybe 2 hours a day trying to provide good content for my students. So sometimes I'm just so tired that I come home and I just crash, and I wake up at 12 a.m. and I'm like, oh, I missed it. But I try to stream as often as possible, and I teach this kind of stuff. I want everybody to become better at chess. Like I can play blitz all day. I mean, it's just I love teaching, you know, but you know I can play blitz, and I don't know. It isn't for me. Like I like teaching, and I want to get chess out there. My goal is not to just play blitz online. My goal is to actually help people get better, and that's my goal. I'm sorry, as cheesy as it sounds, that's my goal. I want people to get better at chess, just so everybody can play better chess. That's it. So yeah, coming to the stream. I try to stream. My schedule is there. I try to stream from 8:30 on. So if you have time, please follow. Okay. And sorry, I kind of got distracted there. So let's go back to the text. So king e5, king g5, knight e3, boom, 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 right? We're blocking. h5, king e4, h4, and note that we play g4 because h3, now we're in the square of the pawn. Also, sorry, to answer your other question, triangulate. There are like 5 or 6 videos on triangulation, and where we use triangulate on my YouTube. Well, I think it's like 3 that mainly go over it, but I'll go over it really quickly right now, after this example. G4, H3, okay, F3, and okay, and he's gonna give us another example. So I'm gonna offer you this example over here. Just give me a second. Let me just set it up. So basically, it's a win. Hold on. Let me just H3, King F3. This is on G4, right? So he played. It was like this. He played this. He played here, and we're going to take the pawn. Whatever he does, we're going to take the pawn. He can never come here because we're going to queen, right? So take, and we're going to queen because he's always one step behind. Okay, so to triangulate, let's use this puzzle. Okay, here it is black to move, and if you see that, if we just play here, play straight down, it's a draw, right? Oops, wait, sorry. Bam, check, he's gonna come in, and the only way to save our pawn is here, but if we try to play here, takes, and this is a draw anyways, right? Even if you can give him this pawn, and this is still a draw. This is a draw, this is a draw. You can't win with an H pawn. Okay? So, the way that we try to win this position is we have to triangulate. And basically, to triangulate is to lose a move so that you give your opponent the move. Okay? So, they can never come to this square. This square is a mine square. It's a corresponding square to this square. Right? Which means that if you step on this square, we go here, and wherever you go, let's say you play here, we play here. You can never get at the opposition, right? Let's say he plays here, 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 here. Now we can simply just take, right? Take, bam, bam, and we're winning, right? We have two threats, we're winning. If he tries to guard both of them, he can't, right? Maybe not like that, right? That's a draw. But maybe, I don't know. If he plays here, bam, bam, now we can play there. Okay, sorry about that. Almost drew it myself, almost messed it up myself. Okay, but so let's try this. So we need to, if he plays here, we need to play here. So we have a few squares. We have 1, 2, 3 squares. And he has 1, 2, and 3. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna come here first. They go here. Play here. 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 Here, and now we can take opposition. Right? So I'll do that one more time, a little bit slower. So the aim is we want to get here, but if we play here now, he'll be in opposition. So we play bam, right? If he ever steps up, we come here. Okay? So let's say he goes here. Now we play here. Bam. And now effectively we just wasted a move, right? Because we went 1, 2, 3 when he just went 1, 2, and now he has to play 3 if he wants to go back. Now it's his move in the same position we just had. So before it was our move, now it's his move. And if he goes here, then obviously we just play here and we make a girl. Right? So that's what basically the basic triangulate. That's a basic thing from triangulation. This is a game that was actually featured. It was a Dawson, which is my old chess coach. Really good, amazing guy, amazing player, amazing everything. Anyways, let's get back into the subject matter. And you wouldn't mind having a coach? Coaches are the way to go. If you want to excel, sometimes private tutoring is just the way you do it. Yeah. Taking it to the next level. I definitely recommend the coach. How's it going today? That Italian guy in Japan is going well. We're doing night Endgames. It's so fun. It is very, 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 very fun. Just let me tell you that. Is there any situation where both sides have 3 squares for triangulation and that method never gives the opposition to the other guy, like near the side file? So yeah, if they have 3 squares as well, then you can't triangulate. It's just as simple as that. But if there's a mine square and you see that they can't get to that 1 square without giving way, then you triangulate because you want it to be their move, and then you go in for the kill. I wanted to hang out in you guys' channel and forgot I had students coming in today. Don't worry about it. You're here now. You are here now, and that's all that matters. So let's get this education. And Mark Dvoretsky actually says in the text that he now offers a very deep and elegant study for our enjoyment. Okay, so let's go into that. So I'm gonna just set it up. But how were your students? How was work? Okay, this is white. So move. Okay. So this triangulate would work better during the 6th rank since the opposing player would have less ranks and 1 less square. Think it makes sense now, thanks. Yeah, that's basically it. Like, you see that they have a mine square and they only have these 2 squares to go to. I mean, you can triangulate in any position. Like let's say, okay, don't want to get too much into this, but let's say like they have these 2 squares and they have here, let's say they have these 2 squares. This is a mine square and they cannot get here. Let's say there's a pawn here covering it. Then you can try to triangulate, and now it's their move. Now they have to give way, and then you can go here, or if they give way here, then you go this way. So something like that. But definitely check out the YouTube. It has a lot of examples from Mark Dvoretsky's book. Okay, so now let's offer the analysis. Okay, so here the natural move, and I'm gonna put some music in the background. I'm gonna put it low, and I just noticed that I was pretty much screaming into the mic, so hopefully nobody got distracted. I just get really excited about this kind of stuff. Okay, so King C1, which is actually a mistake. He said, from the next diagram, let's first examine white's most natural plan, approaching the pawns with his king. Okay, so like white to move. Here. Okay, so knight C1, sorry, King C1, King G4, King D2, F3, knight E3 check. In the text it says that if King E3, F2 exclam, because he cannot defend his pawn. Very nice. So knight E3 check. King F4. King D3, F2, knight F1, King F3, knight D2 check, King F4, and we have reached the reciprocal zugzwang position fundamental to this endgame. Black to move loses because King G3 and then King E2. But it's white's move here, and King E2 is met by F1 queen. King E2 is met by F1 queen, because if knight takes, we take, right? And if king takes, right? If king takes, then we play King E3. King D3, and we have a draw. Even if King D1, then we play here. Very nice stuff. Okay, so we're gonna try another thing. Okay, so now he gives another natural approach. Knight a3. Knight a3, f3. Knight c4. Now the natural king g4 leads to a loss. So just remember this position leads to a loss. After that, king c2, king g3, king c3, exclamation mark, double exclamation mark. And if king g4, knight captures e5, check. King f4, king d4. If he plays here, hello. And if he plays something like that, hello. Okay, very nice. Okay, but what is the other way? So let's not play king g4. King c4. I want to look at the other move too. Okay, so knight c4, and the other move too. Okay, and I'm gonna read from the text here. White won here only because with his king at c3, the e5 pawn could be captured with check. That can be avoided by playing king g5. Okay, very nice. So playing king g5 instead, or king h4. Either one is fine. King c2. Then you play king g4. Because on this example, if you take, bam, and the king is not on c3 to defend both. Okay. King c3 here, and now it's king g3. Threatening to promote. Let me get past this. We have reached another reciprocal zugzwang position, this time with white to move. Knight d2 runs into king f4. And if king f4, I think we remember this one. King f4, king d3, f2, and we know what happens here. If king f1 here, knight d2, king f4. If he plays here, then we know. Okay, great. So very nice. So we're looking for move 5. Incidentally, looking at this variation leads us to the astonishing conclusion that both sides should maneuver so as not to be the first to approach the other. As soon as white plays either knight d2 or king d3, he falls into zugzwang. Zugzwang is basically when you don't have a good move. Any move you make is a losing move. If you could pass your turn, you would. But you cannot pass your turn in chess. Okay, and if black is too hasty with f2, like pushing the pawn, or playing king f4, the zugzwang position occurs with him to move instead. So that means that black would be in zugzwang. So we have a reciprocal zugzwang. So nobody can make a move really without losing. So now then it's a draw position. So they're both in zugzwang. You both can advance. It depends on whose move it is to go. Really, really cool. So let's keep going. Thus, we have a case known to us from pawn endings, mind squares. However, this is the only case I know of where the squares are mined for 4 different pieces at once. This is true. This is true. And not the usual 2. And now for the solution. White must play much as in the last variation, except that he must place his knight not on c4 but on b3, leaving the c4 square open for his king. Wow. Okay, so let's go all the way back. So this is the solution, guys. Okay, so knight a1. This move looks ridiculous, honestly. Like I would never see this in a tournament. I would be blind to this move. Okay, let's go for it. F3, knight b3, king g4, king c2, king g3, king c3 exclamation point, king g4, king c4. Here is the point. Black can wait no longer. Here on king g3, king d5, f2, knight d2, king f4, knight f1. Where does he go? Right? He must go to the mine square first, which of course puts him in zigzag. Interesting enough. Okay. So, next, king c4. Okay, king f4. King d3. And he said do not play king d5 here because of e3 and you block, right? So you want to block him from preventing your knight from going to d2 because that's the only way that you can prevent the queen. And Chris Brown, does triangulate work to give the opposition to the other guy? Yeah, sometimes in some positions you want the anti-opposition. So yeah. So let's go back. So off of king f4, you want to play king d3. Oops, sorry. So on king f4, you want to play king d3. f2, knight d2, king g3, king e2, right? And now we're gonna play king g2, what if king f4? What happens there? You can just take, right, for free. And our knight's holding the pawn. And if king g2, then we play knight f1. He can no longer protect the pawn, right? So he has a few squares to go to. King g1. Knight e3, and now he can no longer protect the pawn because he has to move from this square. He can't go to any square that protects the pawn, so bam, and we win this. And we can defend it because we know how to defend the knight from the back. Wow. That was actually a really beautiful one. So I just want to go over that one more time, and I'll just go through it. So the key is that you want the c4 square open to 1 go to d5 and 2 go to d3, having 2 options, right? So you play knight a1, and let's say they play king g4 immediately. Let's say that's the reply. Then you play king c2. And let's say on f3, then I would play knight b3 because we always want to go here. f2, right? And if f2, we stop it. On f4, then we have d3. And if king g3, on king g3, we know that we have to play king e2. If he plays there, we win the pawn, right? So g2, bam, it protects the pawn, and he cannot protect the pawn any longer. Wow, what a beautiful study. Now it makes sense. Like, now that I know this idea, now I can try to implement that into my next game that I have an extra knight versus a pawn or something. And so hopefully I remember this and try to take the key squares from my king. This is the difference between winning or drawing or losing. Okay, and we're going to look at some tragicomedies. As with every chapter and subsection in each chapter, there's a tragicomedy. It's where two very strong players play, and we laugh at their mistakes, even though it's very tragic because they lost or they drew a winning, they lost a drawn endgame, or they drew a winning one. It's a really good time to analyze and bring these monsters of chess back down to the mortal level. So the first example is Nimzovich. If you guys don't know, Aaron Nimzovich was one of the best players who ever lived. I heard he was cocky, but this is in 1911, so I wasn't born just yet. And he made a book, I believe it's called My System. I would love to do that. My System is a middle game book, but I do want to cover openings first before I tackle the middle game. So my theory is that if you know how to win end games, you're going to win more games because you know what to do throughout the whole game. You know what you're aiming for. Having a good opening is going to allow you to get to the middle game, and then once we do a lot of opening prep, we're going to go to the middle game, and then we're going to go back to the end game. That's my plan, at least for this channel. It could happen 10 years from now, maybe. In 10 years, hopefully we'll all be grandmasters. Alright, let's turn this music off, and I'm gonna read from the text. The best square for the knight would have been d7, where it defends the e5 pawn and it prevents the exchange f7, f6. This could easily be achieved by king b4, king f4. So let's just do that right now. King b4, king f4, knight d3 check, king captures g4, king f5, wait, sorry, knight d3 check, king captures g4, and we can play here. Prevents the pawn from being exchanged, and we can bring our king in. But he said he played a little bit too hastily. Aaron Nimzovich did. He played a little bit too hastily, and he played knight d3. The pawn, the king's here. He played knight d3, and correctly Rubinstein played f6. E captures f. King captures f6. Knight f2. King g5. White's king is too far from the center of the action. Black has enough time to drive the knight from f2 by advancing his e-pawn. King b4. e5. King c4. e4. And drawn in view of king d4, king f4, winning the pawn. After, let's say he plays here, he can just play this, and the king, it has to move somewhere. Well, let's say he moves here, take, and we're gonna take this pawn after. Yeah, I mean, doesn't matter where we go, but we're just gonna take the pawn. And yeah, we take the pawn. So it's a draw. So he had an easy win, but came into a draw because he didn't know the vital squares. Let's go over another tragic comedy. Just gonna set that one up. But that looked like a simple. I don't know about you guys, but that became a little bit simpler for me. Like I knew right away that the key square was e5, protecting the advance of the pawn. But you know, I'm what they call a sideline grandmaster. Like you see a lot from the side, but when you're playing chess, remember endgames come at the end of a game. So these tournaments last, like one game can last 4 hours, 5 hours, and you're tired at the end. So really calculating all of that in the end game is hard and it's tough. So, looking at it now, it's kind of like, oh wow, yay! Of course he made a mistake, but during the game, it's like, oops, I've been calculating for 5 hours. I can't do anymore. So they're human too. Okay. With King C2, okay, this is the right position. So the white king is in check, right? So with King C2, Knight C4, Bishop D8, King D7, King C3, exclamation point, King D6, Knight D6, Bishop H4, captures, King D4. White would have probably have drawn, an even simpler route to the same end. So let's put it back. Was King C3, Knight C6, King C4, Knight captures, Knight captures on A5, check, King C5, right, and we're coming into the house. Followed by whatever black does. Boom, coming into the house, he can't protect the pawns. Yeah, you just can't protect the pawns, and bam. Okay. But let's see what he played. Let's let's see why it's a tragic comedy. Okay, and so he played King D4 question mark. Knight F3 check. I'm thinking that he thought this was enough for a draw. Going over here. So King C5, captures on G5, King B6, Knight captures on E4. Ooh, this is tough. Knight captures on B7, King captures on B7, Knight C5 check, protecting. King C6, Knight D3, planning to go here. Okay. King B6, and he's saying sacrificing his bishop. He assessed that the position was drawn, and his opponent evidently agreed with him. Neither side suspected that this was now a position. That this was now a position from a 1914 study This game was in 1975, so 60 years late, 60 years earlier. This was already a study, so you're supposed to play knight b4, king c5, knight d5, preventing the black king from going there. King c6, king e5. King c5, king e4, king c4, and then knight e3 check, king c5, knight c2, trying to block from here. If he ever comes over here, then we block from here, right? So king b6, e4, and the point is that we want to come here to prevent the black king from entering again, right? So king c5, d5, king c4. The best move is knight f6 here, but they agreed to a draw, but knight f6 is the move, because yeah, let's see, knight f6 wins because let's say you play king b6, king captures a6, bam, let's play here so you can't get out, right? So let's say he plays king a8, here, king a7, a6. Let's go back. I want to see why king f6 is stronger than the... Okay, wait. Why is king f6 such a strong move? We have to play here. So he doesn't go here. On a6. Here. Check. One move. I mean, I don't see it. Do we have to play here? What was the way to win this? Do you guys remember? Because I don't see anything. I don't see why this is winning. Even if black had found the winning plan at the moment, he can no longer avoid the draw. I know I have to get my... Is it this? But I know I have to get my... Okay, wait. So if he takes... So we go... Yeah, 95 also draws. Yeah, I think I don't know. It might be something in it. Yeah, it might be something in the book that's wrong. Because I don't see why that would be a win. Maybe when the king's on c4. Maybe I had the wrong position. Maybe I skipped the move. That's why. So I'm gonna set up that position again. Because that's probably what happened. Because I'm like, there's no way he has a win here. But if he had an extra tempo, then yeah, obviously he wins. Okay. So he's saying that on knight e3, king c5, c2, e6, knight b4, c5, d5, c4. Oh, when he plays king c4, then you play knight f6, and that's the winning plan. Okay, now this makes sense. Okay, now this. Okay, on c4, then you play knight f6, and now we're totally winning, because if king c5, we're just like on knight d7, king c6, knight b8. Let's say he plays king b7, right? King d5. King c6, and bam, and we're in front of the pawn. Remember, the pawn's going this way. Wow. King Dave, thank you for the cheer. That was a lot of brain power. I'll keep trying to give the work. Oh man, that's a lot of brain power. I was like, how is this a win? I don't get it. I don't get it. But then it was like, okay, I just made a mistake from the book. And that happens. That happened to me a lot of times when I was studying my books. I think I have over 20. I think I've in my lifetime I've had about 50 to 60 books on chess, but I can probably pull out maybe 15, 16 right now. I think I have some at my grandma's house, and I have some on PDF. Definitely get this book, Mark Deveretsky's Endgame Manual. And thank you for the 1 bit, King Dave. And Chris Brown says the great players can solve problems like these on the board. Tells me to work at McDonald's. No way any human can do that. Oh. No, you can do it. We're gonna get good at these end games together, right? It's gonna be, our whole community is gonna be just end game beast. Whenever you see an end game puzzle, you'd be like, ah, I've read Mark Deveretsky's Endgame Manual. Yo, King Dave with the bit again. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, King Dave. Alright, so I'm going to set up the next position. Okay, and it is black to move. So I just want to look at this position. There's some text, but there's no moves. And the first thing that I see in this position is that we have this, right? This is acting like a pawn, and we're capturing here. So it looks kind of hopeless for black. Unless on this, if he moves here, bam, he can't take because we take, and then we have opposition. Maybe. Okay, so let's see what he says. The game was adjourned here. The second player on the black side is Kiris versus Lengil and Luhako Vice. Hopefully I'm saying this, or Vice, or whatever. In 1969, the game was adjourned here. The second player resigned without continuing. Evidently, he assumed that the E pawn and the G pawn were doomed and must inevitably wind up to, and white must inevitably wind up 2 pawns ahead. But this is not the case. As Kiri pointed out, black has a simple plan of defense which guarantees him the draw. First, he must force g2, g3, after which he can defend the g4 pawn from h2 with his knight. White cannot break down this defensive setup. Okay, so he said the simplest is okay. With his knight, white cannot break down this defensive setup with bishop g1. Is met with knight f3 with tempo. There is no possible zoom. Okay, so the simplest is knight e3, knight e1. Sorry, knight e1 attacking this. On g3, we play knight f3, protecting the pawn. And king f2 is met with d3. And on king f1, if you play king g3, then we have e4. King captures g4, e3, king f3, check, king g3, e2, king f2, takes. Very nice. Okay, so let's see what happens in the game. I think this was a position. Let's just go back. Okay, let's see what happened in the game. Knight f4. Oh, he played my move. Tragic comedy, right? g3 and knight e6 is also possible. He said this is also possible, but not. Don't play knight d5. Play knight e6. Is this a tragic comedy or is this just an example? I think this is just an example. Yeah. Okay, so my move was okay as well. Knight e6. He said do not play knight d5 check because king e4, knight f6 allows the king to get into your house. So don't let that happen. So on knight e6. Bishop captures e5, knight g5, king f4, knight f3, attacking here, d6, h2. Very nice. The king cannot come back because he always goes to f3 with a check. And then the king has to go back all the way. The bishop cannot leave the defense of the pawn, right? We can't trade defenders. I always have this knight f3 check, right? And if you try to trade defenders of this, then I always have this check. I mean, I'm gonna take it. I'm not gonna let him happen, but just saying, we have this check. Okay, and we have 2 examples before we are done with pawn endgames. Ooh, this is two examples and we're done with this chapter. Yeah. Woo. I didn't think this chapter was gonna be that fast. All right. Kind of excited about this. Let me get some emotes in the chat. I'll put the one that I just made. This is something I just made for the tier 2 subscriptions. Feel amazing, man. It's just my face when I was a little bit younger, a bit skinnier. Just smiling all the time. Alright, so let's go to the exercises. And I'm going to do these with you. And so I'm going to give you 2 minutes. Alright, and 2 minutes. Yeah, 2 minutes should be good enough. So let's play this. Alright, and it's Y to move. Just want to pause and give a quick shout out to F Twilight. F Twilight actually does Tekken. I always go to his stream. Does Tekken and fighting games. He goes to tournaments a lot, so go watch him for some Tekken action. And I think there's another guy here. I think his name is that Italian guy in Japan. He does in real life. He lives in Japan. Like, that's amazing. I used to live in Japan, but I love watching his content and him just going around and one, playing games, and then going around Kyoto. It's known for its temples and stuff, so that's always really interesting. So go follow them if you want to see any of that stuff. But you guys have another 45 seconds, so keep on solving. Thank you guys so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I took off the, you can spam emotes as much as you want. I took off the Nightbot settings. So just spam raid. You won't get auto bans. I was there watching. What's going on? Oh, we're trying to solve this night endgame. That's what's going on. Trying to solve this night endgame. So, Lawcoder, he does a lot of retro gaming. I think he died like once, like 700 times on this one thing. It was really interesting to watch. He was just like trying. He's really good at games. Like, it was amazing. It was amazing. So, I feel like autoban is just part of the experience. I mean, I don't know. Like, I don't like when people get auto bans. Like, if they're excessively doing it too much, like, okay, enough. But if you're just coming in like, yo, I wanna do some emotes, do it, man. Yeah. So, guys, if you like retro gaming, Coder is the one to follow. Yeah, he's really good at games. I mean, he dies a lot, but I mean, he's good. Sorry, yeah, good. We'll go with that, Woomy. Okay, so let's go back. Also, yeah, so I don't know if you guys heard or not, but FT Twilight, follow him for the Tekken streams. Amazing player. That Italian guy in Japan. Check him out for the Kyoto streams in real life, and also he plays video games. So very nice. You can see him in the chat. Chris Brown, White has a wait, I know you put something before that. So it is White's move. And so you're saying that you want to play King E7 first. Interesting. King E7. Okay, so I'm just gonna follow you. King E7, King C5. What? Because on King E7, I don't know if we have to play King C5. Maybe we play King B4. Right? We're just gonna try to go straight for the pawn and try to exchange the pawns. Right? So what do you do on that? That's my way of trying to defend. So Chris Brown, you had a really good idea, but you have to also consider that they had that option of trading off the H pawn. I'm sorry, the A pawn. Right? He does have a barrier, so you did see the barrier on A3, B3, C3. But you have to consider that the king is kind of far away. So what can you do with your knight to kind of just get there? If the pawn moves, king moves around. Oh, you only consider the king moves. Well, yeah. Get good at chess. I mean, yeah, just come in and get good at chess. Yeah, especially in the end game, that's where you really want to focus, because sometimes if you mess up a tactic in the opening or in the middle game, you lose a pawn, you lose 2 pawns. Okay, whatever, you can come back from that. But in the end game, you miss one vital move, that's the whole game. There's a really famous chess expression that one bad move nullifies 40 good moves. Okay, so especially in the end game, really calculate, really just like grind to say here, and then if that works, great. Now try the other thing as well, because you might find something in that variation that helps you in the variation you just calculated. Okay, so let's go back. I don't know. I just feel like I want to defend, right? So knight b3, knight b3, king c4. What about king a4? Okay, let's play king c4. And then I was gonna play knight a1, creating the true barrier. Do you see that? Right? Because now these are blocked, but he can't really trade off because he needs to get this knight, and then we have time to get there. So like, let's say he plays like this, right? So like that's like, it's just that easy, I think. I mean, I don't know, what does he play? Okay, let's play king b4, king e7, A5, king D6, oops, king A4, king C6, and if A3, well, we have knight C2 check, right? So they can never play that. So yeah, I mean that's kind of rough. Oh yeah, and we win. Yeah, it's as simple as that. There we go. And if they try to sacrifice their piece, uh, yeah, yeah, there we go. I've seen a few Japanese tutor streams, so I'm basically an expert now. We're trying to get a master coder. The goal is master, so a step above expert. Um, I need to practice. Oh, Woomy, I am starting some beginner streams. I want to start to get you kind of up to speed to what we're doing right now. I want to start like how does a pawn move, how does a bishop move, how does a knight move, how does a queen move. So cover all of that, cover all the squares like the coordinates, cover some basic opening principles, and then we'll start again with the regular one. So tune into the next stream. I most likely am going to do it in that stream, and I'll message you when we're starting that one, so that we can get you up to speed, and you can become a chess master as well. Yeah. So yeah, basically, Chris Brown, the barrier concept was there. It was just you needed to just like finesse. You needed to go this way. You needed to wake up in Chris Brown's body. That's what needed to happen. Um, okay, let's go over the next one. Let's create a new analysis. Set a position. Coder with the 10 bits. My man. My man, Coder. You gotta go soon. I know this is an appropriate time, but are you accepting more students? I guess that's an appropriate question for a DM. Just DM me or whisper me, and then we can talk about it. I am accepting more students, but it just has to fit my schedule. Yeah, just whisper me, and let's get to talking. But come to the streams. That's where you're gonna get a lot of knowledge as well. Okay, let's do this one, and then we are done for today. Because this is chapter 2. We finished chapter 2 in one day, one stream. Like I'm so happy. It was a short chapter, albeit, but hey. Okay, so black to move, and good luck. Start when the music starts. Let's get to the good stuff. I'm gonna put it in the middle. That's where the good stuff is. All right, and you have another 45 seconds to figure it out, and then I'll go to the chat. And then once I go through the chat's answers, I'll try to give what I what I saw in the position. I know you guys are enjoying the classical music, so but I'll keep it low in the background for you guys. All right, and now let's try to solve it. So let's go into the text. Make sure everything's okay. Let's go into the chat, and it is black to move. Oh, so it's black to move first. So Chris Brown, black to move first. Which I guess we're trying to draw this. It's alright, don't worry about it. So I will give you some of the ideas. I'll let you take some time to answer, but I want to give you some of the ideas that I found. Okay, G4 to tie up the white pawns, or maybe G5. Maybe you're saying G5. I like G5. But G5 allows H5, right? And then I can say maybe like this to come collect the pawns. And my king can always cover, right? So, right? So G5, H4. Let's say we play A4. I play King C1. On King D4, Knight D7. Not a line. So here. And if he goes here, maybe I play like this. If King E5, maybe Knight F6. King E6. Hello! Winning this one. Right, so we can't go there. So, King E4. And then Knight F6, King F3. And now we have a tempo move, King B2. Right, and now he has to... Yeah. And we're just winning this. And then I'm gonna collect this, I'm gonna collect that, I'm gonna collect this. He cannot come back up because we can just go here and win the pawn. And then we have we've done this, but the connected passer with the connected passer, but one pawn stopping it, and we know how to win that endgame. Okay. So that doesn't work. So let's say, what if A4? I don't know. King D4. What if A4 immediately? But what if he takes with A4? Can we dominate? Yeah, we can dominate the knight. Now the knight has to go here. Right? But we're gonna win the pawns. Should I take or should I push? I want to take because he has a knight, right? So I'm just gonna take simplify because all I want is a draw here. Yeah, okay, draw. That's how we draw. Okay, so let's say A4 and he doesn't take. Let's say he doesn't take. Let's say he plays like King C1 and King D4. Knight E6. Oh, okay. So King B4 to try the knight. Okay, let's try king b4. Let's go back. So king b4. Oops, sorry. So king b4. Then he goes to the king side, right? And then this, he can tie down. He can tie down the defense of. He can tie this pawn down, and then he has a lot going for him over here, right? Because he has this pawn, you have to worry about it. And if he pushes, then king c1, right? So then he can always get over here, and on g6, I can always just attack it, right? And if you take, you don't have enough time to come. Like, okay, maybe this is better, right? We don't allow him, and then, right? And we're just king d5. And this is just winning. And just, yeah, this is just winning. So I want to keep both of my options open. And on king a4, let's say king c1, knight d4, knight e6 check, king e5, bam. Now king f4, what do? On g5, g captures h5. Here, 1, 2, 3, 4. Huh. Knight h5 check. I'm gonna go here. This is a draw. This is a draw. Okay, yeah, so easy enough. Hey, F Twilight. Where's the Tekken stream? I want to see some more Tekken. I want to see some more. Or the Devil Jin lasers. I want to see that combo. That combo always excites me. Alright. And that is it for today. Yeah, the next chapter is going to be Night Endgame. So